The Garden of Silent Promises. In a small English village nestled between rolling hills and endless meadows, there lived a quiet gardener named Elias. He was a man of few words, with hands always covered in earth and a heart hidden beneath layers of solitude. His garden was the pride of the village, full of wild roses, lavender paths, and whispering willow trees. But few knew that every flower he planted held a memory of someone he once loved. Her name was Lila. 15 years ago, Lila came to the village during summer to care for her aging aunt. She was like sunlight in motion, bright laughter, wind-tangled hair, and a kindness that made even the coldest hearts bloom. Elias met her in the garden when she tried to pick a rose without realizing it had thorns. He warned her, gently bandaged her finger, and offered her a sunflower in return. From that day, Lila visited the garden every morning. They spoke about the stars, poetry, and how colors changed in the rain. Elias, who had never known the warmth of true love, slowly found himself falling, not just for her beauty, but for the way she made everything around her come alive. Lila, too, saw in Elias a rare soul, honest, grounded, and deeply gentle. That summer became a story they etched into each corner of the garden. Their first kiss under the willow tree, shared lemonade in the shade, Lila dancing barefoot among daisies. But time, cruel as ever, had other plans. Her aunt's condition worsened, and Lila had to leave. She promised to write. He promised to wait. And wait he did. Months turned into years. Letters came less frequently until they stopped altogether. Some said she married in the city. Others said she moved far away. Elias never searched for the truth. Instead, he buried his pain in the soil, planting her favorite flowers every spring. Lavender for her laughter. White roses for her gentleness. Sunflowers for their promise. One rainy autumn afternoon, 15 years later, a stranger entered the garden. She wore a long brown coat, and time had touched her face, but her eyes, they hadn't changed. Lila. She stood quietly, looking at the flowers, then at Elias. He was older, his hair flecked with gray, but his eyes held the same calm the wind once carried. Neither spoke for a moment. "I'm sorry," she whispered, rain mixing with tears. "I wanted to come back sooner. Life, it got in the way." Elias looked at her, his voice soft. "The garden always remembered you. So did I." They walked through the garden in silence, stopping by the willow tree. She touched its bark like greeting an old friend. He turned to her and smiled for the first time in years. "Will you stay this time?" he asked. Lila nodded, her voice breaking. "If you'll still have me." And beneath the willow that once held their first kiss, they began again. Not as young lovers chasing time, but as two souls who had waited, weathered, and finally found their way back. Where the river meets the stars. In a small village nestled between emerald hills and winding rivers, there lived a quiet painter named Elias. He was known for his landscapes, which seemed to capture not just the colors of the earth, but its soul. People often said his paintings whispered secrets, as if the wind and water spoke through his brush. Every afternoon, Elias would sit beneath an old cherry tree by the riverbank and paint. He was content with the rhythm of his life, until one spring day, when the village welcomed a newcomer. Her name was Leora. She arrived with the blossom wind, wearing a simple dress and carrying a worn leather journal. A writer from the city, she sought solace in the countryside, far from the noise and heartbreaks she had grown tired of. She rented a small cottage near the river and spent her mornings writing and her evenings wandering. It was during one of these wanderings that she found Elias, painting silently under the cherry tree. At first, they exchanged only nods and glances. But one day, rain interrupted his work, and Leora offered her umbrella with a shy smile. That moment changed everything. They began to talk. About art, about dreams, about loneliness, and the stars. Elias painted her laughter into the sky, Leora wrote his silence into poetry. Their lives, once solitary, began to entwine like ivy on an old stone wall. As the weeks passed, spring melted into summer. They met every day beneath the cherry tree. Elias showed her how to mix colors from wildflowers, Leora read him stories she never dared share with anyone else. They didn't speak of love, but it bloomed quietly between them, in the brushstrokes and verses, in glances and gentle touches. But summer brought a shadow. One afternoon, Leora received a letter. Her publisher in the city had offered her a contract, a dream she had worked for years to reach. But it meant leaving the village. Leaving Elias. She was torn. When she told Elias, he didn't speak at first. Then he handed her a painting, her silhouette beneath the cherry tree, the river glowing like silver beneath the moon. Go chase your dream, he whispered, but remember, this river will always carry my love to you. With tears and kisses and 1,000 unsaid promises, she left. Years passed. Leora's name appeared on book covers across the world. But in every city, every crowd, she searched for the silence of Elias's eyes, the warmth of his presence. She wrote him letters she never sent. And in the quiet hours, she reread her stories, realizing they were all about him. One day, when fame felt hollow and the city too loud, she returned to the village. The cherry tree was older now, its blossoms paler. And there, beneath its branches, was Elias, still painting, still waiting. His hair had streaks of silver, but his eyes lit up as they met hers. He didn't ask where she had been. She didn't ask if he still loved her. Some things are too sacred for questions. That evening, they sat together, where the river meets the stars. And for the first time in years, the world felt whole again.